The wind howled through Dry Creek, kicking up dust that stung Ellie Harper's eyes as she stood on her porch, clutching a chipped coffee mug. It was a quiet morning, the kind that felt heavy with secrets, until the low rumble of a motorcycle shattered the stillness. Her heart stopped. That sound, it wasn't just any engine. It was his. After 15 years, Cole Ramsey was back, and the past Ellie thought she'd buried clawed its way to the surface, raw and unyielding. Ellie was 35 now, a single mother running a small diner in this nowhere Texas town. Her life was steady, predictable, serving coffee to ranchers, wiping sticky fingerprints off tables, and tucking her daughter, Mia, into bed each night. But the sight of Cole, leather jacket worn thin, hair longer but still jet black, tore open memories she'd locked away. They were kids when they fell in love, reckless and wild, dreaming of escaping Dry Creek together. Then he left, without a word, after that awful night, leaving her to face the consequences alone. She'd built a life from the wreckage, but seeing him now, leaning against his bike in front of her diner, made her feel like that broken-hearted 17-year-old again. Cole didn't come inside right away. He stood there, staring at the diner's faded sign, as if weighing whether to step back into her world. Ellie's hands trembled as she set down her mug. Mia was at school, thank God, but the regulars inside were already whispering, their eyes darting between her and the stranger outside. Dry Creek was small, everyone knew Cole's name, even if they didn't know the whole story. Ellie steeled herself and pushed open the door, the bell jangling too loudly. "What do you want, Cole?" Her voice was sharper than she meant, but she didn't care. He looked up, his gray eyes catching hers, and for a moment, she saw something, guilt, maybe, or pain. "I need to talk to you, Ellie," he said, voice low, like he was afraid the wind might carry his words away. "It's important." She crossed her arms, shielding herself. "You lost the right to important a long time ago. Say your piece and go." He didn't move, just reached into his jacket and pulled out a folded envelope, yellowed with age. "It's about your brother. About what really happened." Ellie froze. Her brother, Jake, had died 15 years ago, the night Cole left. The official story was a car accident, Jake drunk, swerving off the road into a ditch. But Ellie had always known there was more to it. Jake wasn't a drinker, and the sheriff's report felt rushed, like someone wanted the case closed fast. She'd begged Cole to help her dig deeper back then, but he'd vanished instead. Now here he was, holding answers she'd stopped believing existed. Against her better judgment, she let him inside. The diner was nearly empty, the morning rush gone. Cole sat at the counter, the envelope between them like a ticking bomb. He told her the truth, or his version of it. Jake hadn't been alone that night. He'd been working with Cole, running errands for a local rancher, Mr. Hargrove, a man with more money than God and a reputation for getting what he wanted. Jake had stumbled onto something, proof Hargrove was smuggling drugs through Dry Creek, using his cattle trucks as cover. Jake wanted to go to the cops, but Cole, scared and young, urged him to wait. That night, Jake confronted Hargrove alone. That accident wasn't an accident. Hargrove's men made sure Jake never talked. Ellie's chest tightened as Cole spoke. She wanted to scream, to throw something, but she just sat there, hands clenched. "Why didn't you tell me?" she whispered. "I was your girlfriend. Jake was my brother." Cole's jaw tightened. "I was a kid, Ellie. Hargrove threatened my family, said he'd burn our house down with my mom inside. I ran because I thought it'd keep you safe. I've been carrying this ever since." She didn't want to believe him, but the pain in his eyes mirrored her own. Still, trust was a fragile thing, and hers was long gone. "So why now?" she asked. "Because Hargrove's back," Cole said. "He's running for mayor, got the whole town eating out of his hand. But he's still dirty, Ellie. I've got proof, documents, photos, stuff Jake hid before he died. I found it last year in an old lockbox he'd stashed. If we don't stop him, he'll own Dry Creek for good." The challenge was clear: expose Hargrove, a man who'd already killed to protect his secrets, or stay silent and let him win. Ellie's first instinct was to protect Mia. She'd spent years shielding her daughter from the world's ugliness, working double shifts to give her a stable life. But Jake's memory gnawed at her. He'd been her protector, her big brother, the one who taught her to ride a bike and snuck her candy when their mom wasn't looking. Letting Hargrove walk free felt like betraying him all over again. The next few days were a blur of fear and resolve. Ellie and Cole worked in secret, piecing together Jake's evidence. The documents were damning, ledgers showing payoffs, photos of Hargrove's men loading crates into trucks under cover of night. But Hargrove wasn't just a criminal, he was a pillar of Dry Creek, funding the church, sponsoring the high school football team. No one would believe them without ironclad proof, and even then, Hargrove had the sheriff in his pocket. Ellie faced sleepless nights, torn between her need for justice and her fear for Mia's safety. Cole, too, struggled. He was a drifter now, used to running, but staying meant facing the guilt he'd carried for years. Their biggest challenge came when Hargrove caught wind of their digging. One night, Ellie found a note slipped under her door, "Stop, or Mia pays." Her blood ran cold. She confronted Cole, accusing him of dragging her into his mess. "You brought this to my doorstep," she yelled, tears streaming. "I have a daughter to protect." Cole didn't flinch. "I know I messed up, Ellie. But I'm here now. I won't let anything happen to you or Mia. I swear it." His promise felt hollow, but she had no choice. They decided to take the evidence to a journalist in Austin, someone outside Hargrove's reach. The drive was tense, the desert stretching endlessly around them. Ellie kept checking the rearview mirror, half expecting Hargrove's men to appear. Cole drove, his hands steady on the wheel, but she could see the fear in his eyes. They were both out of their depth, two broken people trying to right a wrong that had haunted them for half their lives. The journalist, a woman named Carla with a reputation for taking on corrupt power, listened to their story and pored over the evidence. She agreed to publish, but warned them it wouldn't be easy. "Hargrove's got connections," she said. "You'll need to lay low until the story breaks." Back in Dry Creek, Ellie sent Mia to stay with her aunt in Houston. The diner stayed open, but Ellie's heart wasn't in it. Customers noticed her distraction, whispering about the stranger who'd rolled into town. Hargrove made his move the night before the story went live. Two of his men cornered Ellie in the diner's kitchen after closing. They didn't touch her, just stood there, their presence a threat. "Drop it," one said. "Or we come for the kid." Ellie's knees shook, but she thought of Jake, of the way he'd stood up to Hargrove knowing the cost. "Go to hell," she spat. They left, but she knew it wasn't over. The story hit the next morning. Carla's article, backed by Jake's evidence, spread like wildfire online. By noon, state police were at Hargrove's ranch, and by evening, he was in custody. Dry Creek buzzed with shock, some refused to believe it, but the truth was undeniable. Ellie and Cole watched it unfold from her porch, the same place she'd stood when he rode back into her life. The danger wasn't gone. Hargrove had allies who might retaliate, but for the first time in years, Ellie felt lighter. Jake's death wasn't just a tragedy anymore, it meant something. Cole stayed a few more days, helping Ellie board up the diner's windows after some of Hargrove's supporters threw rocks. They talked, really talked, for the first time since they were kids. He told her about the years he'd spent running, the guilt that kept him awake. She told him about Mia, about the nights she'd cried herself to sleep after he left. They didn't fall back into each other's arms, too much had happened for that, but there was understanding, maybe even forgiveness. When Cole finally climbed onto his bike to leave, Ellie didn't stop him. "You did right by Jake," she said. "That's enough." He nodded, a faint smile breaking through. "You're stronger than I ever was, Ellie Harper." As his engine faded into the distance, Ellie stood tall, Mia's laughter echoing in her mind. She'd faced the past, fought for justice, and protected her daughter. The scars would always be there, but so would the lesson. The truth, no matter how buried, could set you free. Dry Creek would heal, and so would she, one determined step at a time. The story's message lingered: courage isn't the absence of fear, but the choice to act despite it. For the people of Dry Creek, for Ellie, and for anyone watching, it was a reminder that the past doesn't define you, you define what comes next.